Yeah, this is pretty clogged up here. When did it stop working, sir?
I think
Yeah.
Sunday afternoon.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, puppy. It's not a good idea to leave those capacitors flopping around inside the access panel like that. It can flop around, arc and spark, short things out, cause more problems. Make sure you secure these capacitors when you put them in there. A lot of people just leave them in the box, and that's not the way to do it. Man, this thing is old. Yeah, it's not even power. Breaker's tripped. I'm just checking the compressor to make sure it's not shorted to ground as well, but it wasn't shorted to ground, obviously because it was unplugged. Okay. Okay. Good cap. Puff the Magic Dragon. It's all puffy. Yeah, as a DIYer, if you change your capacitor and it's all puffed up like that, swollen, bouncing around, that's a pretty good indication that the capacitor is no good. This thing is just... unreal. It's just dangerous. Ooh. So the fan came on, but the compressor wasn't running. So I'm just checking the compressor to see if it is actually shorted to ground. Check the windings to make sure they're not burnt. But this thing's probably eating capacitors because it's clogged solid with dog hair and everything else. So that doesn't help. Oh, what do we got here? Disconnected. See what happens when I plug it in. Just joking. Okay. Let's see what happens when I plug this thing in. So the guy that came out before obviously left it unplugged, saying that the compressor was dead. So I guess they just didn't want to deal with it, or they just wanted to replace the unit, or nothing else. All right. I wonder why that was unplugged. I wonder why the compressor was disconnected. Sir, has anybody else been out here working on this? Has anybody else been working on this? Do you know why they disconnected the compressor? The compressor was disconnected from the inside. So you just had was there another contractor out here looking at this or something?
Yeah, they were just taking a look at it.
What'd they tell you? You need a new system?
Yep.
Well, you don't.
Okay.
But you do need some parts, okay?
One of the guys said we do, and the other one said that we could fix it, but...
You can fix it, but this thing's older than King Tut, you know what I mean?
Right, that's what they both said.
This thing is working like a I don't even want to say it. Okay. Yeah. It's obvious that the unit needs to be replaced, but right now they don't have the money to fix it. So I'm just going to do what I can to get this thing running. I'm not going to give it any special treatment. I'm just going to replace the parts that need to be replaced, hose it down, and I'll be on my way. But this unit definitely does need to be replaced in the near future.
Tis looks like a 99, 1999 Prince. You know what I mean? Summer 1999. Raspberry beret right here. Golly. All right, thanks.
As you can see from time to time as the camera moves, these fins are not just clogged with debris only, they are also bent over from people rubbing up against it, dogs. Also, the dogs are urinating on this thing. So, like I said, this thing is just, it's exceeded its life expectancy and it does need to be replaced. But hosing it down or chemically cleaning it's not gonna do anything. The compressor was pulling high amps, but it wasn't that bad. So, like I said, I'm just gonna patch this thing up and keep it moving.
All right, let me go get a zip tie, I guess. I don't know what Joey did with my plumbing strap. Can't find it.
I don't have any plumbing strap in my van. I can't find it. So I'm just gonna put a makeshift strap in here using some zip ties and some ingenuity right quick.
Don't have any plumbing strap. Gotta get creative.
Yeah, you can see a piece of plumbing strap there, but it's definitely not big enough to go around that capacitor. If you notice, there's two capacitors in the compartment that I pulled out initially. So the person before me probably didn't have a dual run capacitor on their truck. So that's why they put two different capacitors in there, one for the fan motor, one for the compressor. So I'm just replacing it with a proper sized dual run capacitor instead of having two stuck up in the compartment.
Good to go. Yeah, I'm not spending a bunch of time on this one. All right, sir. Sir, can you turn your AC on for me?
Turn it on?
Yeah, yeah. Not a whole lot you can do with this, man. Not a whole lot you can do with that.
I know a lot of people are probably looking at this saying that, you know, this thing just needs to be ripped out and replaced, which it does, but, you know, I mean, like I said, this is a rental property. They don't want to put any more money into this than they have to, so I'm just doing what they ask, and I'm going to fix it and move on. But, you know, this thing could run for another 5 years. I don't know. It could run for 5 minutes when I leave, but that's just how it goes. Customer's always right. And, yeah, on to the next one. I probably should have sprayed this from the inside when they had the top open, but to be honest, at this point, it really doesn't matter. These fins are just bent over. Terrible, so it's not really going to matter what you do to this thing at this point.
You're lucky. If you're lucky. Yeah, whatever. Help it breathe a little bit better. That's it. As good as it's gonna get right there. Get you through the summer. They'll probably get you through the summer. Yeah, man, I can't tell you, but try to keep the dogs off it, okay? All right? You pissing on it? Yeah. That'll eat right through the coils, okay? All right, man, you have a good one. Yeah, he's gonna pay me. Yeah. Oh. Rental property, man. They don't want to pay to keep it fixed, but they want to collect the rent. All right. Going home. Get ready to go fishing tomorrow. It's too hot out here today. I don't want to be dealing with this shit. But yeah, I think it might last another summer. I don't know. But we'll see what happens, you know? That thing's on its last leg. But homeowner don't want to pay to replace it right now, so we'll wait and see what happens. You know what I mean? With shit like that, you can pay me now, pay me later, but you gonna pay me. All right, let's get on to the next one. Get on up out of here.